But why? Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
Hello again, everybody. This is the Mad Salvi coming to you with another opinion piece on the Completionist. I know some people are tired of it, but he just keeps getting caught in more lies. Of course, this is an opinion piece, and also, if you see anything that you disagree with, that you agree with, whatever, let me know in the comments down below. Now, to get onto this, we already know, according to the Open Hands Foundation, that 2003 is when they wanted to start doing the whole dementia research thing, because supposedly that's when she was, when the mother of Jirard Khalil was diagnosed. At least that's what they say on their site. You know, they say it here. She was diagnosed with dementia in 2003. And then we have the FTD, of course, that received the money, and even they said Karen, which is the mother of Jirard Khalil, was diagnosed with FTD in 2003. So we know this so far. And we also know that he was born on January 3rd, 1988. So it's not anything like, it's pretty much beginning of the year. So we know exactly that it's very easy just by telling the year, the date, how old he is. So he was 15 according to all the other information that was shown 15. There. And even he's even saying here he was 15 when she was diagnosed.
When she was officially diagnosed. It took 5 years to get her diagnosed.
Okay, so according to him, 5 years to get her diagnosed from when they saw symptoms, I believe, is what he's trying to say there. So 1998 is when they first saw symptoms, and 2003 is when she was diagnosed, from when I can see.
She was officially diagnosed with FTD 4 years later when I was 14.
Now it's 14. So he's switching back and forth from 15 to 14. You're going to see he's going to switch back and forth even more. He's not going to be able to get anything exactly 100% right for whatever reason. I would assume that if you want to tell a story, especially a story as important as someone with having dementia and a family member having dementia, you would get the dates exactly right. Like if my family member had any of those issues, I would know exactly when they passed away. I would know exactly when they were diagnosed, when all that kind of stuff happened. You know, anything. Those things are traumatizing for a lot of people, so they know the exact date, sometimes even to the day and to the hour when it was found out. But he seems to be having issues with this. Why? He's just creating stories, I think, to make himself be more of the victim. That's what I'm thinking. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments, like I said.
It took almost 2.5 years from there. I was 14 years old.
Now it's 2.5 years?
It was my first day of high school.
So wait, first it was 5 years? Now it's 2.5 years? What the heck is going on here?
And we're all getting together. I get called out of class.
So you see his timeline is so messed up. You see that?
We go to the doctor's office over in Gardena, and the doctor says, your mom has been diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia.
So that's the issue that is going on here. Also, another issue that's going on here is of course, it says 10, he started saying 10 when he started noticing the changes, which is the progression of symptoms, okay. 12 it escalated, and 14 was when she was diagnosed. So it was a year before they said she was diagnosed because he was born in 88. 14 was 2002. So the years are changing. I don't know why, but the years seem to be changing a lot for him. And then he goes back over here. It says right there, he says it took almost 2.5 years from there, 14 years old. And then, like,
since she got diagnosed when I was 14, roughly.
Cause very close, near, and dear to my heart. When I was 10 years old, my mom got diagnosed with dementia.
For those of you guys who don't know, when I was about 10 years old, I found out that my mom had dementia, a very specific rare kind called frontotemporal dementia.
Again, 14 years old.
When I was 10 years old.
Then 10 years old.
I found out that my mom had dementia. To give you guys.
So, 10 years old, here's what's messing me up. Okay, 14 years old when he was diagnosed. That's when they officially knew that she had dementia. I don't think they understood what dementia was unless they were like really big researchers. At 10 years old, you're not going to understand those things. And at 10 years old, you're not going to be researching those things. So now he says at 10 years old, he found out she had dementia. Which one is it? Because most family members only know they have dementia once they have been diagnosed. Because if as a layman, you try to diagnose things, you're going to, 9 times out of 10, you're going to diagnose things wrong. And then you're going to be scared you have cancer or something else. So the official moments is 14 according to what he said, but 15 according to what the organization says. Now he says that he found out at 10 years old. Things are getting, the timelines are really screwed up. And this is because he cannot get his lies straight. He is lying so much and so often and changing things so often, he can't get it straight. And this is what's annoying about the dude.
An idea, a little background on me. When I was 10, my mom got diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia, which is
10.
essentially...
Now he's saying 10 she got diagnosed. So this is 4 years earlier she got diagnosed. First it was 2003, then it was 2002, then it was 10, which was 1998. When was she officially diagnosed? I'm going to go more, because of the fact that he lies so much, I'm going to go more towards what was officially put out by the AFTD Foundation, for the Frontotemporal Dementia Foundation, from the actual writing on the website for the Open Hands Foundation, because he's just lying so much. And right here you can say 10, 10, 10. He was saying again, 10 she was diagnosed, 10 she was diagnosed. That's when, and then she lived for 15 years beyond that. So he's just, it's just so very annoying. I'm even kind of off for words because of how annoying this is.
The doctor said that she had about 18 months to 5 years.
Again, this one seems to be a little bit more correct, 18 months to 5 years, because I believe the Frontotemporal Dementia Organization said 7 to 13 years, around there. So anywhere around there, minimum 7 years, most likely 13 years. But he's, I think, doing this for great effect, because look what he says next.
To live. But because my family and I fought so hard, my mom lived 15 years after diagnosis. Lived until...
So again, it was a bit narcissistic to say, because of his family, she lived 15 years. Now, the family does help a lot. But the way he put it there seems very, like, pat me on the back, please, you know?
About 2013. So she lived 16 years after diagnosis, and is one of the hardest fighting survivors of her illness, specifically from diagnosis to death.
Now that's where I have a problem. He says 16 years. She died in 2013. So that means that even then, 1997, so when he was 9, she was diagnosed. So 16 years from when she was diagnosed. So that's 9 years old now? Things are getting really, like, the timelines are getting really screwed up, because he just doesn't remember the lies that he made in the past. So he's making new lies now to make it seem more extreme, and it's just, oh my goodness. It keeps going and going.
So...
Again, 7 to 13 years is what they're saying. FTD, this is the AFTD saying.
She went on to have it for 16 years. She's one of the oldest.
16 years again.
The longest lasting person from diagnosis of her illness. She got it when I was 10, and she passed away when I was 26.
I am someone who has who had a mom who had dementia. I was 10 years old when my mom had dementia, and she passed away when...
Jirard was 25 when she passed. He's just making it so that she lives longer, so that the story is more amazing, so people are like, wow.
I was 26, so she actually was one of the longest surviving members of FTD, or I shouldn't say members, but really people diagnosed with FTD.
Again, the progression of symptoms from when they start is anywhere from 2 to over 20 years. This is just progression of symptoms. But once they're diagnosed, which means that they're in the end stages, I believe, once they're really fully fully into the dementia thing, they're fully diagnosed with it, it's 7 to 13 years of survival. So the progression does make sense. That maybe it found it when it was 10, maybe that's when it was progressing, and then several years later, up to 5 years later, she was diagnosed, and then 7 years later, or whatever after that, she passed away, which I think it was about 10 years after she was diagnosed, she passed away. So that can make a little bit more sense.
Strong as hell woman, and she went down fighting every single step of the way. And more importantly, she is the longest survivor to date with someone who's been diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia. They gave her 6 months. She said, screw you, I'm going to live 15 years. She pushed the boundaries of what science knew and what people knew about this.
Now she pushed the boundaries of science and what people knew about the illness. He's adding a lot of things. And frontotemporal dementia, don't get me wrong, it is a horrible thing. You watch your family members lose who they are and forget you. It is just, you watch them waste away until they pass away. I do not wish that even on my worst enemy, honestly. Because from what I've heard and from what I've seen of people, family members who survived their family members passing away, it's a horrible thing. I don't wish that on anybody.
Illness, usually someone who's diagnosed with FTD lasts about 6.5 months.
The most common factor upon death for dementia patients is lack of appetite and just not eating.
Okay, before you said also 6.5 months, no, they don't last only 6.5 months. It's minimum 7 years of survival from what FTD's foundation says. So he got that one wrong. And right here, he's saying malnutrition.
Most people who die of dementia die because they stop eating.
Usually, someone who's diagnosed with FTD lasts about 6.5 months. Mostly due to malnutrition, just not getting enough food, not eating enough, not being present.
Again, these are all the journals that are saying that it is mortality rates, actual mortality rates are heart disease and, you know, things like that. Not actually, malnutrition isn't mentioned anywhere here. It mentions bronchopneumonia, which is pneumonia, just regular pneumonia, which is bad anyways. They die from those type of things, those secondary type of things, not from malnutrition. In fact, over here, the Alzheimer's Research UK says, which is another charity for this, another research organization, says that yes, they can eat less, but they won't die from it. They can sometimes die from it, but it is rare, which means that rare usually means, you know, 10% or less. When he's saying the majority of them die from malnutrition, it's just, yeah, again, he's just not, he doesn't know what he's doing. Now, that is the dementia part. Now we're moving on to something else. And if you want, you can click off from here and just go on. Now we're going to the lies he did for Best Buy. Okay.
Worked at Best Buy selling games. And the thing about Best Buy is I got a visceral fucking high selling video games. I earned nothing for selling video games, but I was selling passion. That's the thing that I got. And I loved it. I loved it so much. And I didn't earn any extra money for it. I'm just saying, like, hey, Mario DS is fucking good. You should buy it.
So he's saying he's a really good salesman.
I love these games. You should buy them.
Which also leads to what I just did before, which is, since he's a really good salesman, he's really trying to sell that pitch that, you know, oh my God, all these things that I'm saying is the truth, but he keeps going back and forth, all these weird, you know, changes in his story. He's such a salesman, he forgets the sales pitch that he did in the first one, and he keeps making different sales pitches for you to feel bad for him and to start giving more money for the charity that he didn't give for 10 years.
Store was getting incredibly weirded out because if you looked at the charts of like successes of like what was taking off at the time, you kind of saw that our Best Buy was like #1 in our territory for video games.
So now he says #1. He says that their Best Buy was #1. You're going to see he's going to switch back and forth a lot on this one.
At my store, we had some of the highest sales numbers in the country in regards to video games.
Some of the highest sales numbers. So now it's some of the highest sales numbers, not the highest. Before it was #1 in the region. Now it's among the top in the country. So
because I was that weird guy that would dumpster dive at GameStop to get statues like that,
again,
clean it off,
salesman.
and bring it into Best Buy, and
trying to sell you snake oil. Again,
my entire approach
again and again and again. He's trying to sell the snake oil.
of how I marketed to sell games in the store. And because of G4, we became the biggest Best Buy in the country to sell video games.
The biggest Best Buy in the country now. First, it was the biggest Best Buy in the region. The #1 in the region. Now it's #1 in the country, people. He got it so big, and this is the same story he's saying. So it wasn't just like one year they were #1 in the region, next year they were #1 in the country. It's switched from region to country.
Because I was basically copying Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb.
Oh,
and
yeah,
how
now
they
he's
talked about games, and I just took it so personally.
So he's the best. He's the best now, apparently. Now this one is the article that is also having him say, now his story, apparently he was passed up on a promotion following 5.5 years at Best Buy. And he was passed up on a promotion. Why would you be passed up on a promotion if you're #1 in the country? Because of him. You know, these like I said, these
I had
lies.
a couple of opportunities to go to Best Buy at a corporate level and to help.
Now he had opportunities to go to Best Buy in a corporate level. So you've been passed by on a promotion, and now you are going to Best Buy in a corporate level. You have the chance to. Like I said, he forgets the lies he's putting out. He forgets the sales pitches he puts out, and he keeps trying to put out new sales pitches every single time for the same, you know, goal of being this amazing dude.
Help restructure things, because at my store we had some of the highest sales numbers in the country in regards to video games.
Now it's some of the highest in the country again. Now in this Las Vegas Review Journal, he has that he said thanks to John Tron introducing him to Ego Raptor and Dex Bonus, he became someone who's doing YouTube videos, and he quit his job the next day in Best Buy. So first he quit his job because he was denied a promotion, and now he just quit his job because he became a YouTuber. That was weird. Like, again, he's really messing with his life.
I was just a young college kid with stupid ambitions
This is something on his second channel, by the way.
and dreams, but I thought, you know what, if I am going to be here, I'm going to make the best of it. And so I pitched my idea to my Best Buy manager, and he was like, wow, this is really cool. And that was it. and it sucked. It drove me crazy because I ran analytical data to prove that what I was doing was working. I had receipts.
So now he's doing such an amazing thing, and he's doing receipts, and he's doing all this kind of stuff.
And facts and proof, and people,
they're,
you know,
they're
giving me
like,
congratulations on doing such a good job because I was adamant and passionate about making it work. This exact exchange I had with the manager at the time is the reason why I left Best Buy.
now because the manager was like, I don't care, or at least had a nonchalant attitude to all the wonderful things he was doing at Best Buy, he was passed up, and he was basically not shown what he wanted, and he left. So first it was he was passed up on a promotion. Then it was because of he became a YouTuber that he left. Now it's because a manager was nonchalant or complacent that he left.
Because
what is
every
it?
time I kept
What's the real truth?
Inventing ways to sell games, to talk to people, to communicate.
Manager calls me for the fourth time and goes,
now on this
"What's
one,
the problem? Why can't you sell the TV?" And I was like, he didn't want a fucking TV. He wanted a cable. He wanted to get out of here. And he goes, he doesn't know what he wants. You tell him what you want. And I heard that and I was like, oh, so that's how we do business here. Like, that's how you see this. Like we tell people what they want. And then he just pulled me aside and goes, listen here, you little privileged piece of shit. You listen to me. You do what I tell you. If you keep this up, you'll be working here forever. And that was it. The switch flipped. I turned to the old lady and I was like, ma'am, I'm gonna do something really rude. Excuse me. Turned to the guy and said, fuck you. I quit, you piece of shit. Turned back to the lady and I was like, let's get your iPod. So I sold her iPod.
so here's the thing. Now he quit because they wanted him to sell a TV to somebody. He quit because the manager was very rude to him. So first, let me get this straight. First, it was, I believe he said, because he was passed up on a promotion. Then he left because he was going to be a YouTuber. Now he left. Oh, and then after that, he left because the managers didn't pay attention to him and were nonchalant and complacent. Now he left because the manager was an a-hole to him and was being very mean in front of customers to him, called him, basically said he had a silver spoon in his mouth, which we all know it's true because his family had money. So all these things, there's like 4 different reasons. How many times did he work at Best Buy? Is this every single time he worked at Best Buy something bad happened to him? Or the same lie didn't work the first time, so he said it a different time and said it a different time to see if it would get more effect. This is what I'm telling you. You should not believe a dang thing that comes out of this guy's mouth. Anyone who does, well, more power to you because everyone has the right to choose and the right to watch his videos. I say don't watch him, don't click on him. Don't even put a downvote on him because you're just giving him more attention, which is exactly what he wants. He is a narcissist and he is a liar, in my opinion, of course. This is all an opinion piece, and he's a liar according to me, according to what I'm seeing here. He is a snake oil salesman. He is a BS artist. He is a dude who will lie to you in order to sell you something. He was selling himself for the longest time, and that's why he was doing those lies. And then he was selling the organization, the foundation he created, and that's why he was selling the other lies about the dementia issue with his mother and diagnosis. It's just too many lies to count. There's probably hundreds of more lies that he's done, but these are the biggest ones that I wanted to look into. Once again, I am going to put Carl Yop's original video down in the description below so you can get his take on it and you can see the full thing because he talks about a lawyer who is saying that he's lying and went basically full-on simp for Completionist against him. That would make my video like 3 hours long with the way that I talk, so I didn't want to talk about that, at least not in this video. Thank you so much. Of course, look in my description below for all of my, social media. Look on the screen for all the things that YouTube wants to recommend to you. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a wonderful day, wonderful weekend, wonderful week. If you're watching this later in the week, whatever day you're watching, have a great one. Bye-bye.